Okay, so we're gonna do a little VOD review. This is a matchup that I've gotten some questions about, the Marionette matchup. It's a little bit spooky. Marionette can be pretty explosive when they hit, but it's a matchup I felt pretty comfortable in. And the biggest thing in this matchup is just don't flinch. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them take tempo for free. Don't block when you don't. I'm going to say need to, but I think also adjusting the idea of when you need to block. You need to block a lot less in this matchup than you think. Generally, if you're having problems in this matchup, you need to block less than you think. This game is from UK Nationals, I think about 2 weeks ago at this point, 2.5 weeks. And this is Tim McCarthy, first seed out of Swiss on Prism. And this is his quarterfinals game. We're going to take a look at his finals match against Gravy Bones in a bit. And he getting to choose first or second, as he's the higher seed, the first seed. He chose to go second, and he's doing so with Rapture and Calming Gesture. This is the way I would do it. I like having the tempo in this matchup. You can do some stuff going first. You can set up 5-card hands. Marionette doesn't necessarily convert the best on a 4-card hand, but we're much more comfortable going second. Threaten Double Herald. Say, give me your entire hand if you want to stop it. Or give me 4 cards if you want to stop it. Because Marionette and Slippy, neither of them have a ton of armor to speak of. They're very fragile in that regard, and that gives us that lets us pressure their hand very quickly. It's a very short clock they get because of this. So going second is the way I want to go in this matchup at the moment. I've tried going first in the past, and it's gone weird, but I definitely have liked going second just because this is a value matchup. Tim drawing up his first hand. This is Figment of Judgment, Arclight Sentinel, Angelic Wrath, and a Herald. Not ideal, not what we want to see going second and having to block. Odds are we're going to take a dagger here and leak 1. We're going to get marked, which, yeah, straight out. And there isn't much we can do about this. Unfortunately, the piercing on Hunter's Glaive makes footsteps just negligible. If possible, I would like to see a Rapture filter at some point here, but I don't know if that'll be available to us. There's also the possibility that they go to pass and we just play Arclight Sentinel and mulligan our hand, depending on a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to, Upsticks is going to come down, and I think we want to Arclight Sentinel here, because we can only block 3 with this hand. Arclight Sentinel just kind of ends the turn. We got a 0 for 4 out of them, maybe makes their next hand worse, but like this hand just doesn't block, and this hand is not good going second after eating a bunch of damage. We just want to filter for a Double Herald hand. This Arclight Sentinel is totally fine. Notably, this is double blue, and he overpitches the Figment to get rid of it. Perfect. Love it. I'd rather look for Heralds than guarantee a yellow in that hand if it's a Figment. If it was a yellow Herald, probably keep it, but no, this is great. Is still marked. Yep. Funnel Web. Okay, so that might change our Figment priorities just a little bit. We might not grab Erudition on this turn. Okay, so we have Erudition, Triumph, Light of Soul, and I believe it was Ravages. So the only question is whether or not that Triumph is a blue and we can play through a Popper. There's decent odd. It's definitely possible that there's a D-React in Arsenal. That's pretty common when the Assassin gets turn 0. But we're just going to start with this. It looks like it is a blue Triumph, but Light of Soul hitting is great. Perfect. Love it. Probably go get War here if I had my choice. Put that Ravages on 7. If this is getting popped, we're okay with that. If this is getting D-reacted to cover it, then we're like super okay with this being a 7. It's going to make blocks super awkward for Marionette. Protection. Okay. So we're going to get the Spectral Shield early. I don't know how I feel about this, actually. We're kind of banking on the fact that we're going to have an Angel at the end of this turn when we get this protection here, which I don't know is guaranteed. I would rather be getting protection. Unless we're trying to take the protection turn now, which I don't love, I kind of want to save that protection turn for when we're not marked, because it just makes it. If we just stay marked when we have an angel and 3 spectral shields in front of us, it just gets a lot harder to kind of cover what's going on. We can't deny value as well. So it's, yeah, the Herald's still there, still a pain. But it, like, because in my head, if this erudition should never hit, basically. If we get War, we can always footsteps into a 7-power Herald, which is just better than a 6, and we can get protection then, unless he's looking to take his protection turn this turn. Not my favorite, not the way I would have sequenced it, but it could be fine. We're kind of gambling that we have a Herald of Protection later. But, oh, getting masked this early, interesting. So he's playing, so Marionette's going to play around the Wrath, which makes sense, because you can. And because we get to choose which, yeah, we get to choose Black Widow. So this is going to set off a couple of, like, warning bells for Prism here. We might need to Calming Gesture on this turn, we might need to do something else, or this is just Mask getting blocked with to get it blocked with, which is more likely. They probably don't have, like, Kiss of Death and stuff already, and Black Widow is still just the best thing. So we wouldn't have gotten the War value because they have the D-React, but thinking on the Figment flip here, I don't like a Figment flip here. I really don't. I do not. And so maybe the get for me wouldn't be War, because if they have the D-React and they decide to block this way, then the Courage token is wasted and we can just go Judgment. Because if they give me 2 cards and they 1-card hand it, then that's way better for us. Okay. I don't know if I get War then, just because the way it plays out with the Mask of Deceit there, but I don't know that they want to give me Mask that early, and they can play around Blue Wrath at least by just giving the D-React on the first one. They do have Kiss of Death already. Well, we might be giving Calming Gesture here, and we might be giving up Figment of Protection, which I don't love. I really like having that Figment of Protection, that Aegis turn later in this matchup. Getting to stop Flick is so important in those mid-game turns. We have 1 card in hand, so we can just give... This should be pretty kind of face up, because we just give, like, a 3-block here. They use Black Widow ability, and they can't even snaps here into anything. If they Black Widow ability, they can't snaps. This isn't really scary. I don't know if I even give a... I think we still have to give a 3-block just to cover this, unless we're okay giving a card, but, like, why not just give a 3-block anyways then, and then we give a protection. Then we go to a 2-card hand, but they're down, like, just everything. The alternative is we say no blocks, and we take 6, 7 with the on hit, plus we banish a card. I don't love that. We get unmarked, which I guess isn't nothing. I think I'd rather just block this out and be like, go ahead. Because it's either we take 6, take 7, go to 21, lose a card, or we give 2 cards plus Soul plus Figment. If this wasn't Aegis, it's like an easy flip for me. It's not necessarily easy, but it's a flip I'm, like, okay with because I have plenty of time still. I'm going to double Herald the next turn. I'm not going to double Herald if I block and flip. I'm going to single Herald. They still have to cover it, so it might depend on whether or not I have a red Herald in hand. If I have a red Herald in hand, I'm more likely to take this to make this block and try and one herald it. Yeah, so we're gonna Black Widow ability. We're gonna take 5, unmarked, and then we're gonna banish a card from hand. If we have double War Tune as well, that's also a possibility. It looks like we actually have no yellow in hand. That's even more reason for me to like. No, that is yellow. Okay, I thought that was a blue. Threatening double War Tune. Like, so we have the. What's the last herald in our hand? Because I know it's a herald. It's another protection. It looks like it's... Oh, never mind. It's a wrath. Okay. Yeah, this is fine then. With the texture of this hand, it's fine, because otherwise we have to block here, and we have to flip here. And then we just... That? No, this is fine. I'm pretty okay with this, because then the wrath is going to go into our arsenal, and we're going to be able to force it through on a later turn. Plus, we kept the angel... Yeah. Nope. I like this. That wrath in particular actually like changes the math a decent bit, I think. So now, challenging Marionette to have a D-react or give us 3 cards. And it looks like it is 3 cards. And it's Bonds, Under the Trapdoor, Scar Tissue, and we're still going to push it through. It is a yellow wrath. Lair is there, very fortunate for Marionette. I think I always play that Wrath there. There's no reason not to, because you have to play through that. If it's a D-react, you have to play through it eventually. And if it's a 4D react, you're only over by 2. They're not going to get to cover a red herald potentially later if you don't have the Wrath or something like that. Unfortunate that it does mark us because it had go again. But we can't like do any cheeky tricks with that, really, I think. Yeah, start with red protection. Cool. Probably keeping Halo up as an option for if we get blocked by a CNC. Wow, very unfortunate hand here. Block with Wage Gold is an assassin card that is kind of funny. It's cute tech. Now, unfortunately, this hand does not play through whatsoever. Do I do anything differently? So Marionette gave their whole hand, so we didn't have a choice to block with anything here. Is there a reason to Halo anyways and take our Shariah turn? Because we could. We can. I don't love it. I think this is fine and we just have to eat it, and it's one of the cases where the popper gets us. It doesn't feel good. Marionettes are usually... It's not surprising to see Marionettes on a set of 3 7 power poppers. Wage Gold is a cheeky version of that. But I don't know if there's a better way to play that hand, depending on what the arsenal is. I assume the arsenal isn't a War Tune. I assume it's another yellow Herald or red Herald. Probably red. Panic Conquer. So there is Flick available, but I don't care. I probably, just block 6, and we're gonna chill. What are we considering? We're gonna Flick? Interesting. Sure. So that Flick, doesn't matter, because we were already marked and we were still marked, and for us, it doesn't matter. For them, I assume it's just clearing the way for a Graphene Callister at some point. And he draws into double Orb Weaver Spinneret. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, yellow 2-cost Herald out of Arsenal. Sure. We're gonna see how much this can do. We are unfortunately marked here. Still. I don't like it. What do I get here? This is a spot where I'd love to get protection. So much. Which they're not super likely to flick, actually, since they just flicked. They would have to have the Callister generation in hand here. I mean, it's still almost certainly a flip if this goes through, but I don't think it's likely to go through. 7, and we kept the Wrath. Cool. So our hand was Herald, Wrath, Figment. Yeah. This hand just gets played this way. And we're chilling. Now we get Erudition. And I think I don't flip at all. Okay. So this is... The way I play this matchup is I think I don't flip here. And I'm going to look to, like, end of their turn, flip Erudition. And then I can go flip Erudition, like, and maybe I want one more card in Soul for this. Or I'm going to Halo on my turn. But, like, flip Erudition on their turn, Halo, or, like, swing Erudition, draw 2, and then, like, Halo, flip Protection, have a Herald hit, make 2 Spectral Shields. And I just want to set up a board that's, like, 10 ward, because I assume I'm going to get unmarked on this turn. And I'm going to flip on at the end of their turn, and flip on my turn, and make Spectral Shields. Is what I want to have happen in this next turn cycle. If we can do that, I think I just win the game, because I'll never get marked again, basically. And I just get to decide from there on, like, how the game goes. On top of Erudition value is just insane. And there's also a non-zero chance that, like, Erudition gets to live a turn with that much ward. They, like, almost have to attack it directly. So it's... Now we just need to see, like, how much happens here. Or how much we're presented with. Orb Weaver Spinneret. Yep, that's fine. Cool, don't care. Kiss of Death. We are marked. This is going to be 7 on hit, go again, and on hit, lose a life. So we are marked. So I think we're... I don't know if we're worried about the Bonds of Agony. If there's Bonds of Agony in there. It looked like there was. Yeah, okay. So this is... We are no longer probably taking that plan. Yeah, we're going to flick, and then we're going to snaps. And we also have a resource to swing. Oh, he flicked the Calycera. Okay, so they can't swing. So, like, if we have an Arclight Sentinel, we just dump it right here. And it's going to hurt, but that's fine. We can make it work. The question is, what's in the hand and how much can be taken? I assume it's 1 card can be taken here. Oh, this is... Right, I remember this. This is the issue. The hand only has 1 yellow, which is Herald of Erudition, and that's not, like... That's not nothing that Herald of Erudition gets taken. We can't do anything to stop it here at this point. It's just unfortunate that it's our only yellow, and then we have a face-up Wrath there as well. I do think the take of Erudition here is correct, because it's the only yellow. This makes stuff more difficult. Part of me wonders if we should flip with a blue and reactions or something, but probably not, given 2 angels on the board. There's no reason to, I don't think. I want to preserve the soul and angel. Those 2 angels in particular need to be, like, preserved. I'm just thinking of how we're going to use this last card, given that it's very likely that our yellow gets taken. Especially since that's an unknown arsenal for the Marionette. That's a ponder token. So the yellow just keeps us from using the whole hand if they take that. So Erudition is taken. And I'm trying to remember if this is the turn that I think it is. So let me see. Yeah, okay. So Tim is doing something that I've done before and I always kind of hate doing, which is on this hand that has no yellow. Halo, put a Herald into Soul, draw a card, flip Shariah for free because of Rapture, swing Shariah, draw 2. You have 3 cards with which to find a yellow and pitch it to activate Empyrean Rapture to give Shariah go again. If it whiffs, you are very, very sad. But if it works, you're feeling okay because the turn just gets fixed. There's, again, a world where I am flipping Shariah on their turn. I don't think it's likely. But it's possible. Because you could flip Shariah, then Halo, and then you're just like less likely to be stuck with extra cards. I wouldn't hate it still doing that. We're going to get Rebirth. We're going to put a Herald on top. Oh, we can guarantee a yellow. Okay, yeah. I mean, I really like this Rebirth line. This is really sick. Guarantees a yellow off of the Shariah draw. Yeah, great. I would let me check the math here. How many cards do we end up with after the Shariah draw? We end up with 4. So if we're -1 blue here, we have 3 cards in hand. We can guarantee one of them is a Herald. We cannot guarantee the second is a Herald because we have to give up the pitch the Wrath, pitch the blue Herald to Halo, and then Halo the third card, which is a red Ravages. So I think not flipping on their turn is fine. It's just a little less stable of a board, and I'm not sure if the risk is correct. Yeah, we're gonna pitch the yellow in damage step. Take 4, makes sense. And we're just gonna play Arclight Sentinel. Yes, because we have the spare card in Soul, I'm very okay with this. Yep. Because we have this spare card in Soul. I've had a lot of games where I've tried to do similar stuff to this, and then because I don't have the spare card in Soul, I'm just not able to get through for whatever reason, or like I'm not really threatening anything on that next turn. Like this next turn, the threat is a 5-card hand that also gets an Aegis turn. And like we're still going to end up in the same spot, but I think we had to draw an Arclight Sentinel here to really fix it.
Now we've got that buffer established now for a whole extra turn.
Forcing Anton to deal with that and allowing him to keep several cards, which is pretty good.
So we see double Figment, Pierce, and another Herald. I might be flipping on their turn again still. Like this is something I keep coming back to is like I want to have this board state against Marionette where it is just overwhelming. The problem is like I don't have a Wrath to push a Herald over to then guarantee Shariah goes through. Like this might be, I don't think it's flip actually. It would just be Herald swing Shariah, play Pierce. Yep. Arsenal. And then we need to see what the Arsenal is here for Prism. Because this is still the Ponder, I believe. This hand is not easy. Especially since I think it's a blue Triumph, which is just like the easiest card in the world to block out. No, it's a red Triumph. We just can't Halo for... Double CNC is funny. We just can't Halo for Triumph to get out of the out of a Wage Gold pop, and our turn is just pretty anemic if that happens. But we get very fortunate in the cards that are available to our opponent. And he does block with a CNC, which just like straight up tells you that he has another. He for sure has another. If they block like this with a Command and Conquer, they have another 6 power popper. Just flat. Let that go away. So we are going to swing Shariah, and we're going to draw 2. I don't love this. This feels like we might be burning something. Like we're just going to light a card on fire. Yeah, we've... And... Oh, never mind. No, this is so good. This is so good. Okay. What did I literally just say? We know they have the CNC. We know they have the CNC. Just pay Footsteps and send a 3rd Herald. They pop. You pay Footsteps. No, this is just so clean. This is so clean. Beautiful. Love it. Because you're sending that Triumph before you send Shariah. Draw. Yeah. No, you're going to get to send 3 Heralds on this turn. This turn is great. This is fantastic. It's only a blue War Tune. But no, this is just such a clean play. And like it just, that possibility just like skipped past in my head on that draw. Because it's like, no, we're just going to get to send a 3rd Herald because they're going to pop it. Like, nah, that's just excellent. That's wonderful. I love seeing that. And it's like, Marionette's down to 1 card in hand plus an arsenal. I don't think I flip here. Ravages? Sure. There isn't a huge difference. I would potentially actually go War here still. I think, no, War is in the pitch zone, as is Triumph, unfortunately. So Judgment is the only one that we're potentially missing, which leaving Judgment in the deck still, just in case they have Infiltrate, is totally fine. No, this is just like, this is super clean play from Tim here. I really like it. And we're just going to go Dagger into Scar Tissue, and we're very okay with that. We don't have Halo for Triumph available to us at this point. I might have mentioned that earlier, even though we'd already used Halo for that bailout turn. But we're just going to send double Triumph. I think we've seen all the Command & Conquers, though. It's only Wage Gold left, now that I think about it. Which does mean Triumph is just like a slightly less effective, unless we think there's more 6s, if we think there's a Death Touch. Depending on what the other card in hand is. I believe it's a blue Triumph and something else. Oh, whoops. Block 6, Tarantula Toxin, and Reaper's Call. Yeah, another Triumph. 3 Triumphs. Cool. Blocking with a Toxin and a Reaper's Call. Okay, interesting. There's no Wage Gold, and it's possible that they just can't block this. God, like, all of these turns, I just want to have Aegis in my deck still. Every single one of these turns, I want to have Aegis in my deck. I want to have a Spectral Shield next to an Angel, so I can actually flip an Angel and not feel like I'm forced into Calming Gesture on the next turn. Especially on these turns, where I have to go off Arsenal, where I can't set up War Tune hands. Like, this is why I wanted to keep Aegis in the deck. It's so important for this matchup. It's so important. You have to pick your spot with Aegis so carefully in this matchup. This is a flip, and you just flip Rebirth. No flip. I would take the free 1 health. Like, we do have Aegis. Like, we still just have Aegis available to us if our first Herald hits, like, for the rest of the game. Is there a reason we don't take the free flip here? It was block with Tarantula Toxin and Reaper's Call. Why not flip here? Even if we have to, like... I guess because we're anticipating having to Calming Gesture on this turn to stop whatever they do. Reaper's Call, there might be... They think they have another way to mark them because they blocked with the Reaper's Call? Hunter's Clave. Sure. Okay. I mean, we're going to trade it for, like, 1 card. We would trade our Angel for a full card, for a blue or Weaver Spinneret. That's fine. I'm okay with that in this matchup. I'm honestly okay with that. Giving up an Angel for that? Yeah. Okay. And then, like, this would have been so... Having an Angel flipped here would have been so brutal. It would have been so brutal. So, there's... Because it was 6 into 6, I wonder if we can assume that they don't have 6 block. That they only have 5 block, which narrows it to, like, Codex, Upsticks, or Scar Tissue. There might be a couple other 2 blocks, but those are the 3 that immediately come to mind. I wonder if we can actually narrow down the last 2 cards to something like this, where it's 3 block plus Scar, which, like, could be Kiss of Death into this. But I think it's unlikely that they have 6 block in hand. But, like, if we had flipped an Angel here, like, this game is just over. We're not marked. They don't get Orb Weaver. Nah. You have to be willing still in this matchup. Like, we play Calming Gesture so that our Angels don't get 1 ward. But it's so we can control in a particular spot where our Angels don't only get ward 1. In some amount, your Angels are going to get ward 1, and you have to be okay with that. And I think we just, like, missed a bunch of value for this, where it's like, yes, this hand ended up lining up to where, oh, geez, there's also Blanche. That's, I assume, face or open deck list, but like, that's just, like, free it's at least 1 free health
Still quite resourceful.
when we still have 1 card in soul. And, like,
Thankfully, War Tomb Herald, tough one. Gives you that.
A little bit of buffer, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe we're
and
assuming
two generally means you're pitching
that we need to keep it for a Ravage's ability or something
And that courage just pushing it over rate as well, which is fantastic.
to close the game. I don't usually think I do.
Flinch,
Pitch
and
into
but,
Triumph, coming
yeah.
for 7.
Yep.
big swing in here.
And I like this Herald sequencing. All the poppers are going to be 7s at this point. The 3 Command and Conquers are gone. Send the Triumph second, because it'll get, or send the 7 second, because it'll get popped either way. You're not getting anything from sending the Triumph first. The 7 second is more awkward to block. If this hits and we don't flip here, I'm
Thrown by this illusionist.
Quite the board save tip this turn to put giving up the Flick Knives, Kiss of Death, and the Orb Weaver.
giving up Flick Knives. Cool. Excellent. Fantastic. That's so good for us. At some point, I'm just going to flip Calming Gesture just to get the Spectral Shield value if I have a floating resource.
Now he's going to be discarding to the Arachne to get a
Mhm.
board.
Yes, it gets +3. And it comes
Yep.
+3, so
And I'm going to take this 4 so fast.
not terrible.
No, obviously using the hand to block as much as
I'm going to take it so fast. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's
Unmarked. Okay. We need to have Aegis flip this turn. We need to have Spectral Shields out this turn. We need to, like,
I have 4 cards in hand.
we need to lock out the game here. We need to lock them out. Unfortunately,
Yeah, we may be
I don't think we can play through a popper
We are
with this hand,
on board piloting the Jumbo Jet.
which probably just means we just raw flip an Angel, but
protecting his life a little bit.
Marionette just says no blocks. We're going to take all of it.
Thankfully,
I feel so comfy.
the extra life buffer.
Yeah.
3 Spectral Shields in total.
Okay.
In play, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Do I
Yeah, coming in for 4, generating some additional spectral shields.
swing Aegis
This is
Just making life difficult for Anton to push damage.
or
4, now we're just going to have a card for the Rs.
is this better value? So no matter what, we're getting an Angel flip, and I'm pretty sure the last card in hand is another Herald Protection. We know there's no popper on this hand. I think I send the Herald here because I don't want to have to rely on it later, and I want extra cards in Soul. I'm still getting another Spectral Shield. I'm only going -1 Spectral Shield. The question is, how much is that second card worth? So we're sending... We're not actually getting that much more value. We're going to get the Angel flip no matter what. So the difference is 2 cards to send 7 and make a Spectral Shield, or 1 card to send 4 and make 2 shields. So is a card worth 2, essentially? Because it's either 6 or 8. So I guess it is better this way, because we can also give cards much more freely, because we're not marked. So Calycera doesn't have Go again. We have plenty of Spectral Shields. Yeah, I think this is better. I think it might depend a little bit on the life totals. If there's a couple points lower, like obviously if you're presenting lethal, then you would send the Herald instead, I think.
Now, you probably have, I wish I had picked a piece.
Especially since it is protection. Yeah, we're going to take 4. And this should be a relatively comfy spot. You're just trying to dodge poppers at this point.
That's probably what Anton's thinking right now.
This is a weird choice. I think I give the Spectral Shields here. Because there's no Flick Knives. And we're not marked. So if he's going to spend another entire card on Hunter's Glaive, that's the same as sending just another pain in the backside, in which case we don't lose a ton of... We lose value in terms of raw number, in terms of like the raw numbers on the turn, but we still traded card for card, basically.
This Angel is a pain in the backside.
I think because there is no Flick Knives, I give the Spectral Shields here. I understand the guarantee, or the choice of guaranteeing the Angel gets ward value. You have the Spectral Shields, they're more flexible. But I think I give the Spectral Shields, and I'm not 100% sure. Saver.
So Tim is not marked at the moment, so no card draw available on table at the moment at least. But coming with that, could change that.
Yeah, so like, I don't know if this Saver comes out if the Angel's still out. So the difference here is really interesting because it's 3 Spectral Shields. So you can like block with a card and then take 2 Spectral Shield, 1 Spectral Shield left, which probably it's eaten by Calycera or whatever is happening here. Or we get marked and we This would actually be slightly awkward if we had the Angel out, unless we were willing to give Calming Gesture, which I probably would. I would probably give Calming Gesture and just flip another Angel, probably War or Rebirth, to cover this. Assuming I have the blue, which I'm pretty sure we do, just because Passing Mirage, and I just don't want to be marked for Savor Bloodshed to give them another card. These endgames end up with a lot of decision points, in all honesty, between Marionette and Prism. But Flick Knives being gone already is a huge, huge boon for Prism. That being said, 2 daggers on the board does make things tricky. And I believe, if I recall correctly, so this is Pierce Reality, Blue Herald, I believe it's Protection, Arclight Sentinel, and a War Tune. It looks like blue or yellow. I think blue, given that. So it's probably the Pierce Reality gets given up here. And should just be, I would want it to just be a flip. I'm not as worried about Angel abilities at this point. Ravages is not my kill condition. I just need to be taking cards from... I basically just need to have a double Herald hand. And this does not do that for me. Also, with my line, if we still have the Angel and we just give Calming Gesture and we give up Aegis, which is totally fine, we can then block with Footsteps if we want to go that route, or we can just take the 1 on the Calicera and then flip again. Like, we can hold that second flip, and we don't have to keep Aegis flipped, which would probably just be better. We're probably we should never be getting another Aegis ability. So keeping the flip to threaten to do this again next turn into a double Angel setup just starts getting like really obnoxious to deal with. And now we have to give a card here, and it is a yellow War Tune, actually. And this is just like, yeah, that Savor's still there. If we had we give up 1 less card. Yeah, it's a full card that we get to keep, which I believe this is a Pierce Reality that's in hand, but it would just mean we get to keep a Herald. We're not marked, so we just take this 1. Yeah. Because we wouldn't need to give a card here. Or on the pain in the backside. We would be giving up a Soul and a Figment, but that's fine at this point. Because what I'm looking at in like the next turn cycle is if they ever go like dagger into dagger, I give Rapture here plus Footsteps here, and that's 1 card, and then I get to double Herald them and try and close the game. I'm not sure how many 7 poppers the Marionette's on, though. Very unfortunate there's another one. But being down a full card here means we can't double Herald through a popper. Which, if we can double Herald through a popper, I think there's nothing that kills us in the Marionette deck. From 5. Leading off with red protection. Yeah, if we had the War Tune in hand available to us still, because we can go War Tune pitch ALS into blue protection into red protection, pitching blue protection for red protection. This is so good. This spot would be so good. It's unfortunate, like, it makes him have the shelter, which he does. But yeah, we're just gonna, so because we get popped, we're just gonna flip an Angel, break Calming Gesture. Totally fine. Leave no witnesses at the Angel and then pass. We can almost assuredly say that they have either another popper or they have a D-React, and they could have both. But we need to just hope that we can pay through everything. Sending the Yellow Herald first, sure. If they have the D-React, they're not super likely to give it here, just because they're going to play around Wrath, probably. Most likely, especially since it's a 6. I don't know if sending the 7 first really changes that, because I believe that's a red War Tune that's in hand. But small differences that I'm not sure would make... Small choices that I'm not sure would make a huge difference, excuse me. So we are going to get 6, and we're going to send the War Tune, and we get 7. We leave Marionette on 1 card, and we should be able to double Herald.
No witnesses.
And yeah, we're going to take this very quickly, assuming our hand functions, which it looks like it does. Through, yeah, it should function through a popper. So
Yes.
it is unfortunately triple, it's double yellow. So we're just going to go Triumph into, ooh, Triumph into Triumph, I guess. 5 into 6.
2 yellows, 2 blues. We're gonna have to give up one of those.
No, we can go Triumph into Protection, excuse me. We go Blue Triumph into Yellow Protection. I like that way better. Yep. Cool. The blocks are block 6 anyways, and then we're going to block 6 again. So now we're just looking for red heralds, and they're looking for poppers, which is a spot that I'm okay with in this matchup. I would like Marionette to be a little lower than 6. And this hand has 1 mode, and it is Hit You. We're going to put Figment of Judgment into Soul off of Light of Soul. This is totally fine. Yep, do it. We're not going to need that Figment, especially at this point. I just want a card in Soul. So we're just going to see if we can get this to hit, which it looks like we're going to be able to. And we might be able to actually take a Ravage's turn off this, which is like a huge amount of pressure. Blue Wrath, make it 7. Yep. Taking 2. Thinking if he'll search. No. So he's just not going to bother searching. We're going to flip Ravages. We're going to get our 2 Arcane. We're going to set them to 2. Is there ever a world to play where we play this Pierce Reality? I don't think so. I just want a card. I want a card out of them. Yeah. And it still sets them to 1 unless they have a D-React, which we know they don't have a D-React because they would have covered the Wrath. Yeah. There's no... I don't think there's any reason to not send it. Codex. Okay. We know they only have 7 power poppers left, so it's irrelevant. So we just want to fix this hand because they cannot cover, or they cannot get over second. So the question is, do we cover for second? If we had a card in Soul, we might. I think we actually probably would. I think otherwise we're just going to try and have a double War Tune hand that'll let us reset an arsenal and play 5 cards. All I'm looking for is double War Tune hand here. And it looks like that is what Tim is going for as well. Because at 1, just hit them. Just send double Herald. They will miss eventually. We have enough space to work with that it should be fine. We don't have any cards in Soul. So if they have a popper, it can get sketchy. But D-Reacts we're not worried about. Yeah. So we dump that. Angel goes. We're okay with this. War Tune, 6. Interesting that we pitched the yellow War Tune. Did we bin a yellow Ravages? It looks like we did. I don't know if I like that. Unless we're worried about paying through a popper. But we can do that with double yellow. Is that a yellow Ravages or a red Ravages? We can make them have the D-React here. Depending on the number of D-Reacts we've seen, this could be better. If we know they're out of 4-block D-Reacts, then keeping the red Ravages is better. Yeah. Just because we can just go for the game end here. Yeah, and Tim's going to check that right now. I'm pretty sure. And I think we've seen 3 shelters, and I think we've seen no sinks. And I think that's the green light for Tim to say, if that better be a D-React in your arsenal, and you're going to give me all 3 cards. Yeah. And I like this call. Because the shelters are gone. Yeah. What was the arsenal? I don't know. No, I like that call. That's good. That's really good. That's good use of Codex. Grabbing the War Tune, it leaves him flexible on the way he plays this hand out, because he can just go, give me the entire hand. You have just the Ponder to play, and I still have my arsenal. Or I can just go for the end game, where this is just 6 into 7 if you don't have the popper. Yeah. The end games are very tricky against Marionette. They are for sure tricky, and it is a big difference when flick knives are gone. As soon as flick knives are gone, the end games simplify a lot. Calming gesture gets a lot more flexible, and Rapture also can start getting used. We were a little soul starved here relative to what I'm used to. Um, I don't know. There were a couple spots where we maybe could have been more efficient after the flick knives was gone, especially. Um, where normally I would take the, like in particular that turn where we gave Aegis to the pain in the backside, I would normally take that value. But once flick knives are gone, we can play a little bit greedier, especially when they like are not super incentivized to lead on daggers in that way. Um, it's not efficient for them. We're okay if they take that route because also like we still have answers. We still have ways to play around it because we have cards of soul, because we have spare blues in hand. Um, there's a lot of choices to make in this game, in this matchup. But the biggest thing is just like don't flinch. Like how many cards were taken out of Prism's hand this game? Very few. I think only one. Bonds was taken, and then we got Black Widowed. So two cards were taken out of hand. That's about where I want to be. That's about what I expect in this matchup. And the rest of the time, Prism is just pressuring Marionette. And that's it. That's excellent. So I think that the game plan was good. The blocking was the angel flips maybe could have been a little bit tightened up, but the game plan was solid. It's small things in this game. So, but yeah, no, I think that was a well played game from Tim. That was really good. His game plan was good. Yeah. We're gonna go take a look at his game against Gravy Bones in the finals because that was a really interesting one. That's kind of the matchup that people are thinking about or the Prism players are talking about a lot at the moment. So yeah, with that, peace.